Over the past year, the members of Team VirtualBikeFitting.com have accomplished more than 15,000 virtual bike fits around the world with athletes everywhere. Many of our athletes ask us these common questions, and we want to review these questions with our audience here today. So we put together a list of 10 popular questions that we commonly hear. Let's start at the top here, Jason.
Number 10, no weight on the hands. Tell me a little bit more about that, Tim.
No weight on the hands. That's like riding no-handed, man. Sit back, enjoy, maybe beach cruise. Really though, we need to roll forward. We need to rest onto our hands. We need to feel weight on there. I'm looking for athletes to lean into this. So then they contact the saddle properly. They can engage abs, lower back, and use what they have to give in the correct order. Without putting weight into the hands, and I'm not talking about an excessive amount, just some, we won't get what we're looking for out of this fun, which is indoor riding. Number 9, butt of the saddle, or excuse me, butt of me against the nose of the saddle. So sometimes I tap the seat when I ride. What's that about?
So when we start taking a look at body position, we're really looking about the fact that we spend the majority of the time in the saddle when we're riding, and do get out of the saddle to pedal for specific reasons. However, when we do that, there are times, based upon how we move, our flexibility, our size, our range of motion, where we start to make contact from the nose of the saddle to our buttocks, and that's okay.
Nice. Number 8, proper attire. When I ride, I don't commonly wear what I'm wearing here today. I wear athletic clothing. I wear something that is form-fitting, that wicks away moisture. Commonly, I wear cycling shorts since I'm indoor cycling, which give me more comfort and allow me to relax into the saddle so I can deliver force as opposed to thinking about the pressure from the seat. It's important you give that a shot. I think it'll make a positive difference in your riding experience.
No push back. So tell me a little bit about that. Should I be pushing back on the seat?
Ah yes, number 7, the no pushback. No pushback means you shouldn't be a typewriter sliding forward then resetting into the saddle repeatedly. The saddle should be in a comfortable place where you can sit there, maintain the position without wanting to migrate. If you find yourself migrating forward or rearward, left or right, something's up. Could be something to consider, especially with working with us. We'll find a comfortable position with you that you'll be able to lock into that seat and not scooch or slide as you ride. Number 6, what's that?
No full circle. And so the full circle is this conception in our head that we need to pedal over and over and over again, creating or tracing complete circles with effort or force. And the reality is we may be able to do that for a short period of time, but it's not something that's sustainable. And so we should really think about where we're able to produce force into the bicycle, pushing forward, down one good clean move, and allow the legs just to come back up over the top.
Sounds good to me, man. I like to remind many of our athletes we could try and use the full circle, but the benefit is not worth the cost or the risk. And much like slamming the accelerator in the car, it's only good for a couple seconds. After that, bad things happen. We lose control, we don't use the correct muscles to deliver force, the stability changes, the saddle pressure changes, and we put ourselves at risk for injury, which we'd like to avoid. Number 5, you should not be a statue on this bike. Cycling is dynamic. Your body wants to move around. I'm not talking about resetting in the seat. I'm talking about standing up, moving around, maybe using different parts of the handlebar, position 1, 2, 3. Circle through this stuff. We shouldn't just be locked in and holding on for dear life. It's dynamic. Move with your exercise. Move with your efforts.
Right. Number 4, stand up sometimes. And so as we start to ride the bicycle, as we mentioned beforehand, you need to move around, you need to stand up. We're not talking about resetting, as Tim had mentioned, about in the saddle, but sometimes we need to give our muscles a little bit of a relaxation phase. And so getting up out of the saddle, hovering for a little bit, for a couple of pedal strokes, and then getting back in allows us to re-engage the muscle groups, allow them a short period of time to relax, and then get back into our systemic or our redundant pedal stroke.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. Number 3, max bar height. I'm talking about the handlebar, folks. It's common the handlebar is set really high up at its max, and that puts a lot of weight on my upper body and my shoulders, my neck. It doesn't help me deliver force, comfort, efficiency. Kind of takes away. It's It's something we work with, that after we are completed with the fit, it's common athletes state to us, wow, the bar is so low, but it feels good. And I'm like, that's right. It allows us to sit in the correct posture on the bike when the saddle is adjusted properly and the handlebar is lowered to its correct height. So our spine can be neutral and we can use what we have to give in the correct order of operations. It's a little interesting to think of, but sometimes we lower that bar down quite a bit and people are like, that really works. And guess what? It does. We need to be rolled forward. We need to have neutral spine. We need to have some weight in the hands. And if the bar is too high, can't do that. Number 2, friend.
It's not just the quads. And so when we start taking a look at the body as a whole and where we start to produce power on the bicycle, it's not just the quads. We need our glutes, our butt. We need our hamstrings. We need what we call the entire posterior chain to start to work. And so if the saddle is in both its height and fore aft position, as well as the handlebar height, aren't in the correct spot, you may feel like you're only quad dominant, but we want you to start to pedal and you'll start to feel it. Typically when we start to work with clients, by the end of the session, they relate how they're actually able to start to feel how their glutes and their hamstrings start to work.
I like to tell people it's a welcome back party. No one rides for free. Your glutes, your hammies, your quads, they need to be turned on and engaged. You'll get so much more out of your workouts and time on the bike if they are. Speaking of which, number 1, very common, no pulling up on the pedal strokes. Pulling up on the pedal strokes, it doesn't really give us much. It's one of those things which is like slamming the accelerator. It's good for a very brief period of time, but the risk is much higher. So we like to avoid it totally. Avoid the pull-up. You want to push down into this pedal stroke. You want to use your foot, not your toe, and never pull up on the pedal stroke. What would you like to add to that?
Save the pull-ups for the gym.
Nice.